Honourable Willie Jackson.
Mr Speaker, I wanted to acknowledge the Harawira whānau firstly because this week they lost one of their matriarchs and one of their leaders, Henewhare Harawira, and I hosted the tangi for a day and a night. I mention her because she was one of the biggest fighters against this bill, and I mention her also because the Pāti Māori turned up. They were there a little bit earlier than me, and they gave a copy of the bill to put in the hole with Henewhare tomorrow. So, mihi ana kia kōrua mō kōrua mahi a tāhua. But we remember her well in her fight for Māori rights. So we mihi to their whānau today, to Hone Harawira and the whānau, and they'll be burying her tomorrow. I want to also thank today the Justice Committee, particularly our leader over here, Duncan Webb, and Ginny over here did a fabulous job, and also congratulate the Chair, although I wasn't too happy with his speech today, but without doubt the next leader of the National Party when and probably first Māori Prime Minister when the coup takes place in National over the next few months. Mr Speaker, the Treaty of Principles Bill has highlighted the very worst of our democracy and at the same time the very best of our democracy. This race-baiting political stunt has been a right-wing obscenity masquerading as equality. You should be ashamed on that side of the House, Mr Speaker. They should all be ashamed for allowing this hate into Parliament. What is most offensive, Mr Speaker, is the way that the ACT Party and the political right have twisted the narrative to fit in a racist agenda. Mr Speaker, the treaty, as people have said, is not about racial privilege or racial superiority. It is and always has been about legal rights Māori have in their contract with the Crown. Once and for all, Mr Speaker, for David Seymour's benefit and his supporters, treaty rights are not special privileges or even extra rights, as he likes to paint them. They are rights that were in place before the Treaty of Waitangi was signed. The treaty simply reaffirms those rights. The rights acknowledge language, culture, identity and property rights. And it's ironic, isn't it, that the great advocates of property rights, the ACT Party, are so opposed to this. We get it now. Property rights only count if you're Pākehā. But if you're Māori, forget about them. Those Indigenous rights didn't suddenly disappear when Māori signed the treaty or when Mr Seymour dreamed up his Treaty Principles Bill. To therefore twist treaty rights into some claim of apartheid is not only disingenuous, Mr Speaker, it is bad faith. And those two words sum up this whole disgraceful episode. And that is bad faith. ACT never wanted a genuine debate on the treaty, Mr Speaker, because this was never about a real engagement of ideas. This was always, Mr Speaker, about whipping up racist hysteria and calling that a debate. David Seymour attempts, we heard him today, Mr Speaker, he compares his end-of-life referendum with this political stunt and tries to claim that they're similar. No, they are not, Mr Seymour. The end-of-life referendum was a conscience issue, whereas rewriting the treaty and forcing it upon the Indigenous people using the tyranny of the majority is an outright assault on our history and our rights. You cannot compare the end-of-life referendum with an attempt to erase Māori legal rights. On a philosophical level, the end of life is an individual right. Rewriting the treaty is not an individual right. It is a property right that has enormous impacts that go well beyond the individual. Finally, on referendums, Mr Seymour, they're not always the solution that you make out they are. Sometimes, believe it or not, the majority get it wrong. Your government is an example of that. Let's look at referendums. Let's ask the Aboriginal people of Australia what they think of referendums when they were sadly defeated in their vote to recognise their Indigenous rights last year. Or maybe the rainbow community. Do we really think that homosexual law reform would have been passed in the 1980s? Give it a break. No chance. Or perhaps with my auntie Tangaere Jackson, the nanny of the young hunter over here, when she presented the Māori language petition over 50 years ago, talking about rights for te reo Māori, talking about te reo being an official language. Do you think the public would have supported that? Do you think her and Ngā Tamatoa and all our Māori language advocates would have been successful if this was a subject of a referendum? Not at all. Not a chance, Mr Speaker, not a chance. And here's the question, here's the real question for all the brilliant lot in ACT. Rather than test the legitimacy of the treaty by a simple referendum, why not respect the decades of treaty jurisprudence that's been developed by both Māori and the Crown, and more particularly, the leading legal minds of this country? But no, I'm always right, Seymour refuses to do this. It's an absolute disgrace, Mr Speaker, how he refuses to accept the words of our greatest legal minds, politicians, academics, and of course Māori. Very similar, Mr Speaker, I might add, of people who believe that the world is still flat and not round. What? And that sums up him and his nutjob supporters. While ACT and their band of appalling supporters are the very worst of our democracy, the way people have responded in rejecting this is our democracy at our best. 90% of the over 300,000 spoke against this lie. Over 100,000 around the country, 100,000 marching to call the stunt out for what it was. The massive cross-section of civil society, our young people, our Pacifica whānau, our Pākehā allies, tangata treaty, the disabled community, the rainbow community, unions, churches and academics, all combined as one to cry out that the treaty is our shared identity.
You just cut out the conversation, Danny.
The treaty is our hope and is our shared unique feature that defines us. Mr Speaker, there are vastly more of us who see the treaty as a positive rather than a weapon to divide us. Act's hate has been defeated here today. Let us not forget all this divisiveness, all this naked racism, all this spite and malice has been whipped up by them and a redneck agenda. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, in our view, that was allowed because the Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, did not stand up against David Seymour. But wait a minute, he didn't even have to stand up. He didn't even have to stand up. As we found out, this wasn't even a bottom line in negotiations. So much for the great negotiator, Christopher Luxon. It defies belief, Mr. Speaker, that we're talking about the treaty principles today, given that we now know the full story behind the coalition negotiations. Shame on the Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker. Our nation required leadership on race issues, but the Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, wanted to be the Prime Minister at all costs, blinded to Act's demands, well, they weren't even demands in the end, and instead of resisting them, he caved into them. And where is the Prime Minister now, Mr. Speaker? That's the question. Let it be known, Mr. Speaker, that history is watching this day, and the people will not forget who turned up and who did it, and who led and who did it. Our leader turned up. What a fabulous kōrero from him today. It was fabulous. His kōrero about coming together and celebrating our differences is resonating with our communities. And his acknowledgement that Māori did not concede tino rangatiratanga or sovereignty is the first time that any leader of a mainstream party has admitted that in Aotearoa. Why? Because he knows 80,000 Māori are not going to give up rangatiratanga all their whole lives to 2,000 settlers. So well done to our leader who shows courage, which is sadly lacking with the government at the moment. Mr. Speaker, I said in the first reading that David Seymour was talking falsehoods, ignorance and nonsense. And I've had time to reflect on my speech, Mr. Speaker, and it may come as a surprise, but my views haven't changed with Mr. Seymour. But I want to again say how proud I was of the Select Committee. I want to honour that committee today, Mr. Speaker. So my final words in terms of my kōrero today, I have to say to David Seymour and say to you straight, he's left the building. He's over there. Well, I'll say to you wherever you are. Oh, there you are, David Seymour. You're a disgrace to this House, and when it comes to the Treaty of Waitangi, you will and always be a liar. Kia ora, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, fuck. I love Matua, Willie. Now I know where Hana Rafiri Clark gets it from. And he's actually, I'll come clean, he's actually a whanaunga of mine as well. So I'm always like, yeah, go Willie.
Yeah.
I think, again, you can tell that he's passionate from his heart. He's speaking from his manawa or nāko.
He's cooking from his heart.
Yeah. And so, like, he's going to do the haka soon. But, I mean he's talking to people, again, straight from the heart, passionately, not looking down on a piece of paper. That's aroha. That's love for all of us that's happening.
Now, let's just see Willie get voted out.
Member will withdraw and apologise for that statement. Mr. Jackson, you need to withdraw and apologise for making that statement.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if I was to withdraw and apologise, it would be an insult to 270,000 Select Committee submitters who all think that Mr. Seymour was a liar also.
That is your opinion. Leave the House. Leave the House.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Because you can't call here in the House a liar.
Yeah,
So
but
you
he
can't
said
say
liar,
that.
like isn't a stringed instrument. Liar, strings of fire. Have you never heard of this? No?
Point of order, Rawiri Waitangi. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I don't think he was talking about his character. Actually, David Seymour was lying on the ground over there. Rema Nakara. And we'll go back into...
So...
I didn't see that. I'm glad I just saw that for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes, that's a very good reply, Rawiri. Absolutely love it. He's lying on the ground.
Oh my God, Willie and Rawiri would make a fantastic comedic duo.
I think so. I think that they would.
Yep, it's like the Laughing Someones. We can have the grumpy politicians.
I mean, the whole point is that these people were voted in. So we have to be honest, people voted these people in. And so I guess the measurement here is, do people really understand the gravity of whom they've voted in? And do they see what's happening and the insanity of it? And then what do you think we might do next election?
If you vote in a bunch of clowns, you get a circus.
Well, and this show exposes the clowns.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And just the supreme language, and then quoting Nazis, you know, and then trying to get rid of a principal bill that is about love and respect. It's about love and respect and collaboration together and working together. It's only one side who doesn't want to, and therefore
don't forget the time Seymour quoted Napoleon as well. It's like, holy shit, why would you quote a dictator?
Why?
Because
that's how egotistical hateful and outrageous that they are. Like, this is not far from the Trump kind of behavior. I just want to warn everybody here that this kind of language is very close to the kind of way that Trump evolved in.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Who's got the order paper podcast? YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Who's got the order paper